Hello, you're watching the news summary program on Kazakh TV. I am Liza Chataeva, and here's the review of the major events and news of the past week. The government of Kyrgyzstan is developing a program of the forthcoming accession to the Eurasian Economic Union. By joining the Union, the country hopes to attract future investments into the country, expand markets and develop the industrial sector. The accession is to be enacted on the 1st of May this year.
The government and the parliament have already approved roadmaps on the accession to the Customs Union and the EAEU. The Republic's legal and regulatory frameworks are adapted to the requirements of the Union to the full capacity, and at the moment, what's left is to specify the details until the 1st of May. It is obvious that such a strategic change in the economic policy of the Republic should be considered in great details, but what really matters is that the Kyrgyz leadership has the political will to join the EAEU. Currently, the benefits of such an accession are only pronounced from the lips of experts, but the government intends to demonstrate real results.
The
most important thing is to attract direct private investment in the economy, in all the mining sector and in the service sector, in logistics and processing of agricultural products, in any other area that investors will find profitable to work with. That is why we want to join the European Economic Union. A development fund was established to speed up the accession. The funds coming from the establishment will be directed to the restoration of the industrial sector of the country and its development. A similar fund with the participation of the Kazakhstan's assets was established much earlier. Its goal was to finance innovative projects, the development of capital-intensive production, the creation of enterprises producing goods with high added value. However, until now, none of the projects is operational, although according to the head of the Kyrgyz government, it could happen in the nearest future. The process of development of the Kyrgyz-Kazakh Fund is underway. We need to adjust the practice here. We need to think about producers that would be beneficial both for Kyrgyz and Kazakh businessmen. Apart from the fund, Kazakhstan intends to allocate $100 million to Kyrgyzstan for the adaptation of economy to the requirements of the Customs Union first and then the Eurasian Economic Union. This money is aimed to improve the infrastructure on the frontier and the creation of laboratories for checking the quality of local products to meet the requirements of the Customs Union. As the Prime Minister of Kyrgyzstan, Jomart Otorbayev, said, a verbal agreement with the Kazakh side has been already reached.
The infrastructure is being actively built around the main Kazakhstan-Zhezkazgan-Beineu railway line. According to the rough estimates of the developers, this route will allow transportation of up to 21 million tons of cargo annually. The biggest logistics project of the country has opened a direct access for home producers to the consumers around the Caspian region, in Caucasus and further in Europe. The project has breathed life into the unpopulated steppes of central Kazakhstan, making it attractive for the businessman.
Until recently, this steppe belonged to Saigaz, but today it is a huge construction site. Hundreds of railroad workers are performing maintenance throughout days and nights. Kurmanali Nurpisov is one of them. He had devoted more than 20 years to this. When our president announced in his address to the people that a railroad will be built in this steppe, I honestly doubted that it would be possible. There was nothing here, but doubts quickly dissipated, and now we see the railway, and today it provides for us and our families. The total length of the road is 1,200 kilometers. Almost half of the route passes through the territory of the Karaganda region. Dozens of stations and sidings have already been built here. At the moment, the infrastructure of the new populated places is being developed. For example, 30 apartment complexes are to be built here in Karsakpai. Presently, we work in shifts here. Many of our guys have settled. Life is getting better. We see that homes are being built here. I think I will be able to take my family here in the nearest future. Local authorities promised to build a school and a kindergarten here. I hope that our railway line will prosper. The whole village for railroad workers is being constructed. All the necessary for life things will be introduced here as well. The authorities plan to settle about 900 young professional railroad workers here. Generally, Zhezkazgan-Beineu railroad line will provide 20,000 people with jobs. Zhezkazgan-Beineu is the main transport hub. As the head of state said, we need good roads in order to establish links between the countries. The railroad plays a crucial role because 60% of the cargo will be transported along this road. This railroad is a detour for the domestic goods to consumers located in the west by 1,200 kilometers. According to assessments, Zhezkazgan-Beineu will provide for 20,000 families living along the railroad and also supports the economy of the whole country, developing its export and transport capacity.
Probationary period for underage workers will be cancelled in Kazakhstan. Members of the upper house of parliament, the Senate, have adopted appropriate amendments to the labor code. Changes are also referred to the minimum term of the employment contract with young professionals, which now will be 2 years. According to the initiators of the amendments, this will contribute to a better adaptation of young people in their workplaces. As the Minister of Education and Science has noted, the situation with youth unemployment has improved in the country.
According to the results of 2014, the youth unemployment rate among people aged between 14 and 29 years was 4.6%, while overall unemployment rate was 5.5%. It should be noted that in 2014, this number was lower than the rate of unemployment in the whole country for the first time ever.
Этот показатель, и впервые этот показатель по молодежи ниже, всегда был выше.
From a simple investigation of immense stretches of the outer space to the use of cosmic space, Kazakhstan has made a huge leap in the development of its own system of space communications over the past 10 years. Experts say that only Russia is ahead of Kazakhstan among the CIS countries. Most space projects in the country, in particular the launch of KazSat satellites, are implemented within the framework of the program of accelerated industrialization.
Just 15 years ago, which is a dash in the space, Kazakhstan could only observe the space race of superpowers that not just explored but exploited the mysterious space abyss. The modern world is the world of high technology, and the leadership of the country has realized that in the early 2000s. In 2003, the government of Kazakhstan decides to launch its first national geostationary communication and broadcasting satellite, KazSat. The domestic space communication system in particular had started from that time on. Over the years, the situation changed dramatically. 3 more KazSat communication satellites have been sent into space, one after another. Therefore, nowadays, our country is worthily considered to be one of the fastest growing in the use of space area. Here's the hall where the satellites are controlled from. The particular feature of the satellite is that it needs constant monitoring. The town of Akkol is 100 kilometers from Astana. In 2005, only within 9 months, the first and unique in Kazakhstan ground spacecraft control station was built here. Last year, another such station was launched as a backup near Almaty. The unit is in the orbital position of 58.5 degrees east longitude. Angular range distance from the Earth is 39,000 kilometers. That is almost 3 times of the Earth's radius, and the atmosphere in which it is located is not the atmosphere, so to say, but a quite aggressive environment. The honored Kazakhstan operator academic of the Russian Tsiolkovsky Academy of Cosmonautics Lefter has been leading the Republican Center of Space Communication for 10 years. According to him, KazSat-3 is operating normally without failures. The device, launched in April 2014, is loaded by 13%, already serves many national companies. Those are broadband internet access, cellular, the transfer of data, and video conferencing. Without our own communication satellites, we were forced to pay big money for the rent of foreign satellites. According to our estimates, it may vary from 35 million to 45 million per year. Now this money is accumulated in our state budget. A graduate of St. Petersburg Military Engineering Space Academy aircraft engineer Bowersox is now the vice president of the Center of Space Communications. He has started his long way to this leading position as expected in Baikonur. He has worked in Baikonur for 5 years since the 90s. The 2 separate groups have been established: the space communications and remote Earth sensing. This is just one indicator of the technological development. Today, Kazakhstan is among the top 30 countries with advanced space technologies. In addition to KazSat devices, 2 remote sensing satellites were launched as well. For the record, not every heavy-duty space station can afford a launch of 3 apparatuses in 1 year, experts say. However, the main achievement during all these years is our people. The average age of our staff is under 25.
A square meter of housing in the territory of the Expo 2017 campus in Astana will cost around 400,000 tenge. The new houses will be built of durable and expensive building materials such as ceramic granite and aluminum and steel panels.
Exhibition pavilions, conference halls, houses, one more school, a hotel, shopping and health centers, all these will be future facilities at the new district, which shall be located on the territory of the Expo town. In 2 years, these sketches and models will turn into real projects. The picture has changed beyond recognition. More and more people are now interested in housing on the territory of the future exhibition.
Отведено порядка 1300 квартир. Как только мы завершим строительно-монтажные работы...
There are about 1,300 apartments. Once we complete the construction and installation works and launch the apartments, and we are planning to do so in November 2016, according to the schedule, the apartments will be transferred to the Expo's management. At the moment, the projected cost per square meter, which we think will be confirmed by the authorities, in particular by the state experts, will be in the region of $2,000 per square meter.
Будет базироваться в районе $2000 за квадратный метр.
Currently, there is no housing for sale in the Expo town. In 2017, they will be vacant by the International Expo participants. After the Expo, these apartments will be available for sale. These will be luxurious apartments. Each house will have a featured system.
С применением, соответственно, солнечных батарей, плюс также будет повторное
Solar cells, a system for reuse of water, also rainwater for technical purposes, all will be applied here. Centralization of the vacuum trash system will be divided into categories and packed in bags by vacuum packaging and will be disposed of in bags as well.
По категориям и упаковываться в соответствующие полиэтиленовые мешки посредством вакуумной упаковки. И будет уже централизованно в мешках вывозиться.
Exhibition pavilions will be the main objects of the Expo town. They will accommodate foreign and domestic developers in the field of alternative energy sources. 4 pavilions named World Energy, Energy for Life, Energy for All, and My Future Energy are being built by 4 companies. According to the outlined plan, these complexes will be accessible via specially constructed junctions.
Это здание национальный павильон, сфера.
This building is a national pavilion, a sphere. The national pavilion itself will be located under the sphere on the bottom. This is where the exhibition will take place. There will be 8 floors inside the sphere. This is a media center, exhibition area, museum, room for receiving guests, and on the top floor, exhibit space. The building is unique with 80 meters in diameter. It is the world's only complete sphere.
Метров в диаметру. Это, можно сказать, единственная в мире завершенная сфера.
The main pavilion will match the theme of the exhibition. Future energy will literally come from everywhere, from wind turbines, electrical panels, mono and poly, crystalline, as heat will come from geothermal probes located in 2 super columns. The pavilions will be connected by routes of electric buses. They will recharge on special stops. Metal glass will be used during the construction of this and other pavilions. Other facilities will be built from durable materials, not plastic and alucobond. Construction is on schedule, and in spite of the severe cold and snowstorms, management promises that in 2 years, 38 sites will be constructed on 175 hectares.
What is it like to discover the truth after 76 years? Our colleague Vladislav Tsoy, after long searches on the internet, has finally found archival data about his great-grandfather. As it was revealed, Semyon Tsoy, or Tsoy Sen-nam, in 1938 was a victim of the repressions by Soviet authorities, was sentenced to death, and was consequently shot. Why was a husband, a father, grandfather, and now a great-grandfather arrested, and what happened to him? That's what the large Tsoy family was eager to find out for several decades. As a result, the Korean Association of Kazakhstan has helped to recover the lost bond.
Official shelves are full of archived documents, thousands of criminal cases that turned yellowish throughout the time and due to human obliviousness. Only now they were handed to the Internal Affairs Department of the Almaty region from the National Defense Committee, when there are no witnesses who could have been involved in these aged records remained alive. They had all been repressed or shot, and the records containing details of their cases were unveiled only decades later.
При обращении родственников таких граждан мы предоставляем...
Upon request of the relatives of such citizens, we provide them with the right to be familiarized with criminal cases, which include personal details and rehabilitation data.
It is here now in the Special State Archive of Regional Department of Internal Affairs where criminal case of the accused Tsoy Sen-nam will be stored. Only a copy of the document will be issued to the relatives. Sen-nam was arrested under the Article number 58, the most feared article of the Criminal Code of the then Soviet Socialist Republic, a revolutionary that, as a result, had millions of Soviet citizens shut down or tortured in concentration camps. Semyon Tsoy was found guilty under the Article 58, Part 6, espionage, and was shot. Here it is written that he was a countryman, not a member of any party, works daily. Can a countryman be a spy? Semyon's grandson Vladislav always wanted to discover the truth about his grandfather. He admits that his family was used to remain silent about what had really happened. My grandfather was 8 when his father got arrested, and he visited his father in prison. And once he says, I came and he was not there in the window anymore. He always used to look out the window, but later, when I came back, he was not there. There are no photographs of the great-grandfather, only a memory of him. Semyon Tsoy has 4 children. One of the sons, Leonid, is the grandfather of Vladislav, though he himself is not alive. Anna Tsoy, a widow, recollected in 1938, little Leonid was 10 years old when his father was arrested. Since then, he faced all challenges of life alone.
He was going to buy rice somewhere, which he then wanted to sell at a little higher price someplace else. Before it was considered a speculation, but now someone would say it is a commercial activity. Someone reported on him for doing that, and he was arrested.
The children were sent to an orphanage. Leonid grew up and became captain of a cargo ship. Together with Anna, they brought up 4 children, although Anna recalls more about her personal tragedy, which became mutual for millions of others during the deportation. Remove Korean population from bordering regions of the Far East Territory and resettle to South Kazakhstan region. In total, 11 nations were victimized by the repression. Koreans were the first ones.
We were taken in custody. Somebody stepped on my foot. I was a little girl, but I remembered this. We arrived to a small village. Kazakhs were hospitable there.
Anna was only 6 when she was deported from the Far East in 1937. She was brought to Aral Sea. She recalls that they tried to learn all Kazakh traditions because Kazakhs helped people survive and save their cultural heritage. We are grateful to this land. There are a lot of good things to tell.
Kazakhstan, ты согрел нас своей добротой. Казахстан, мы с тобой породнились навеки.
I don't know any other country where so many nationalities could live in peace. Here in Kazakhstan, we have harmony because Kazakhs are so tolerant. Today, Anna Tsoy is living a happy life. She has 8 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. She's full of energy at 83, and her grandson Vladislav is building a successful and happy future for his children in Kazakhstan, the country that once warmly welcomed his ancestors.
Resident of Zhezkazgan released a book titled Bowersox of My Childhood. In her novels, Zinaida Chumakova describes childhood impressions after the expulsion of the family to Kazakhstan from Chechnya. She wrote about how the Chechen immigrants settled and how locals helped them to get used to conditions in the difficult post-war period.
These exhibits reflect personal memories of the museum manager Zinaida Chumakova. Her family has spent a period of war and post-war famine in Kazakhstan. She collected the memories of childhood in one book. The book tells stories about how immigrants from Chechnya settled in Kazakhstan. One of them, Bowersox of My Childhood, is dedicated to a woman with a big heart, Batima Apai, who lived close to Zinaida's family.
When there is a war, no matter how rich the state may be, everything can be lost at once. So, of course, our most important assets are peace, harmony, and unity of the people. This is inherent in the mentality of the Kazakh people. It is inherent in every Kazakh family and every Kazakh child.
Chumakova says that due to the harsh years, she learned a lesson: power is in the unity. That is why she has become one of the initiators of the House of Friendship, where all the cultural centers of the city are located.
Ассамблея была нужна для того, чтобы через культурные центры...
The assembly was created to know how people live in the country, study the mood of the people, help in difficult moments, and assist them in learning their native languages.
Помогать им в сложные минуты какие-то, помогать в изучении языка.
Soon the book will be presented to the public. This will be only the beginning of a series of events dedicated to the year of the assembly in Zhezkazgan's House of Friendship.
16,000 residents of West Kazakhstan region will take part in the opening ceremony of the Year of the People's Assembly. A nationwide campaign will start on February 6, during which 8 Republican competitions and social projects will be launched. Among them, there are 20 good deeds dedicated to the Year of the People's Assembly. A lot of events are planned as part of this campaign, including those aimed at further strengthening of friendship and tolerance.
We must not forget our veterans, our rural workers, children from poor families, and our disabled people. We need to conduct a very voluminous and very extensive volunteering campaign. The role of non-governmental organizations, and especially of the Assembly, is to reach the residents of each village and city to help them, so each of them would know we are all united people. We have common goals, we have common interests, and we have to help each other.
During the Year of the People's Assembly, new social facilities will be launched. Books and scientific papers on the history of ethnic and cultural associations will be published as well. Implementation of the Business Roadmap program will continue. Universities and large businesses of the region will also participate in the events dedicated to the Year of the People's Assembly. The ancient settlement of Sarek in the Astana region will become the center of celebrations for the 550th anniversary of the Kazakh Khanate. Sarek was built on the Great Silk Road. Its history begins from the beginning of the second millennium, when it became one of the capitals of the Golden Horde. As evidenced by archaeological finds, Sarek in the 12th century was a city with a developed culture, trade and crafts. It had a developed metallurgical and pottery production, and it minted its own coins. The city was located on the bend of the Joly River. From the 15th century, when Jibek Khan moved to Sarek, the city became one of the capitals of the first Kazakh Khanate.
It is believed that 7 Khans were buried in the Sarek: Sartak, Berke, Taktak from the Golden Horde, Ismail and Uraz of Nogay Horde, and Kazakh Janibek Khan and his son Kasim. Exhibits of the Sarek Museum will be renewed by the anniversary date. It will become one of the centers of historical tourism.
Events marking the 550th anniversary of Kazakh Khanate will be held in Astrakhan region of Russia, part of which was included in Bokeh Orda back in the 19th century.
Bokeh Khan has contributed to improving the literacy of the Kazakh youth. Schools for talented youth opened during his reign. The most talented young people were sent for training to Astrakhan, Kazan, Ufa and St. Petersburg. Bokeh Khan Mausoleum was opened in the Astrakhan region, where the celebrations devoted to the 550th anniversary of the Kazakh Khanate will be held.
Masters of Applied Arts have managed to preserve the secrets of manufacturing the Kazakh national instruments at the foothills of the Karatau Mountains in the Kızılorda region. For example, dynasties of artisans live in Kosuyenka village. Mahomet Musayev has been passing his skill from generation to generation. Dombra and kobuz created by the hands of the 70-year-olds are still distinguished by the clean sound. They are considered to be the best in the region.
This old-fashioned saddle was created by Mahomet Ata's father, Artay Musauli. For half a century, the symbol of courage and nobility in the craftsman's family has been a good luck amulet. The elder says that the rare thing is not just a memory of the deceased. It inspires him to create the best masterpieces in the region when making the dombra and kobuz. Father had passed the love for his craft on to me. He had unraveled all the tricks of the trade, taught to create works of art from a simple piece of wood. Now I teach my children and grandchildren. They will share the skills with their children. The son has also inherited the skill of the father. Osman Khan was educated properly and then started his own business. Today, a graduate engineer is engaged in manufacturing of musical instruments. All the knowledge gained from my father we now put into our work. We put a bit of own soul in every instrument we make. The true master must understand the language of the instrument and hear it. This is important. If everything is done from the heart, the dombra and kabiz will sing. Masaev masters say that in this work, all the little details must be handled with due attention. The wood must be old enough, without a single sign of rot or damp. The strings must be made from the insides of a goat and sheep. Otherwise, the instrument will not give proper sound. Even little kids in the family know this. They are also involved in making these instruments. Every spare minute, they help elders in the workshop. This part is called the palm of dombra. The deck will be made out of it. All fastening parts should be well made. I helped my grandfather to draw them. I learned from him. I also want to become a master like him in the future. Folk instruments have always been special among the Kazakhs. It is impossible to show the motives of the ancestors without a dombra or kabiz. The true masters have one wish, so the music of the great steppe would sound throughout centuries.
A Kızılorda school student has created an online version of the Kazakh traditional game Togiz Kumalak. The student has already registered and received copyrights for his creation. Now the young developer intends to issue an electronic version in 3 languages: English, Kazakh, and Russian.
It is believed that Togiz Kumalak is even more complicated than chess. There are over 30 million possible combinations just after the first 2 moves. The ancient game's complexity has become the main motivation for the young developer. The author of the new electronic version is an 11th grader, Baglan Tolibay. The student of the Kızılorda boarding school for gifted children had spent 5 months creating his masterpiece. The electronic alphabet of Togiz Kumalak was performed using the 3D Max. We have no professionals with experience working with such a program. Therefore, we had to develop it independently with the help of online resources and books. I have started by creating small projects, then I began to present them at different competitions. Last year at the annual competition Info Matrix Asia and Pacific, Baglan's project, made jointly with his classmate, won the honorable 2nd place. Back then, the international intellectual competition gathered the most gifted children from 27 countries. Because the competition was international, it was mandatory to defend the project in English and Kazakh. Everything was successful. Today, we already want to create the game in 3 languages. Baglan has registered his creation and obtained copyrights. The prize winner of 2 Kazakh regional competitions got the right of free education at world's best universities.
The unusual team of athletes from Zhetysay enjoys a stardom in the southern Kazakhstan. These are grandmothers/volleyball players. All of them are the mothers of large families and long-time retirees, but they try to win every game of the championship, even against the professionals.
The atmosphere on the volleyball court is intense. Young athletes are competing against grandmothers, but it is almost impossible to snatch a victory. The head of the team, Habiba Pai, didn't leave any chances at all in the finishing stroke. She's active, vigorous, and is very healthy at 6-2.
I am in a good shape only thanks to sport. I instill the love for sports in my children and grandchildren. My every morning begins with daily exercise. Several times a week, I play volleyball and basketball.
Habiba Pai has put the volleyball team together 4 years ago after she retired. A former elementary school teacher, she refused to change her lifestyle. She has brought up 8 children and her 8 grandchildren are not young. She has brought together mothers of many children and created a volleyball team. And what is more, she organized cheerleaders among grandmothers as well. Now each game is featured with their dancing performances.
My husband supports me. He's an ardent fan, so he helps me around the house as well. We grow melons and watermelons. We milk cows and herd sheep together. And we bring up our grandchildren. We have time for everything.
The grandmothers won again today. The new games will go on in the same rounds. The athletes say that now they're ready to get on a new level.
This is why we want to challenge athlete grandmothers in the country. We want to compete in Republican tournaments.
Recently, 4 stadiums were reconstructed in Makhtaral district. Here, people are engaged in both athletics and football. Grandmothers consider to master these sports as well.
These were the main news of the past week. You watched the news summary program on Kazakh TV. Goodbye.